This is a very special day. The breeze took the clouds all away. It swept the sky like a broom and got ready for a very special day. This is a very special time. Show me a hill I can climb. Give me a mountain to move, and I'll prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet. That life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet. That life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
And a very special day we do have. It is a finally Friday, a fantastic Friday, and that means my partner in crime this morning, and always on Fridays, we have Laura will lead with us. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Miss Becky.
Happy Friday. And let's jump in and thank those great sponsors this morning.
We have Walmart, Meadowview, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Kentucky and Accounting Court, and Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Vinny Gannon.
Yay, thank you to our great sponsors by phone. And I I want to thank him for sure. I think it's like 5 a.m. Where he is at. We have Dr. Pete Anderson. He is a graduate of Indiana University and a PhD with 55 years plus of experience, master swimming world, national records, 25 senior Olympic national championships, gold medals. And Dr. Pete, I'm sitting up a little straighter this morning because of talking to you.
I hope you stay fit some way instead of trying to do all that running and biking. I mean, it's pretty hard on your joints when you get older, but you don't sound like you're old enough yet.
Well, I love that. All right, you keep talking to me on that. You're talking very sweet. So where actually are you calling from?
San Diego.
San Diego, and it's like 5 a.m. in the morning?
That's right. I made sure I woke up at 4 o'clock on my good old, phone alarm, and so I could be up and bushy-eyed and bright-eyed, so forth, that I could be awake and not be gravelly-voiced and so forth.
Well, you sound fantastic, and I want to thank you for that because that's awesome, and I thank you for giving attention to us on that. But also, you also were on the swim team of the legendary IU swim. With the IU swim coach, Doc. Is it Councilman?
That's correct. Yes.
And he had quite a record. He led IU to 6 national swimming titles.
Yes, that was after I left. I left with my master's degree in June of '67, and then, of course, in that fall of '68, Mark Spitz came, and then Doc ran off a string of 6 consecutive NCAA titles. But again, a lot of people don't know that Doc would not have won 4 of those 6 titles if it had not been for the diving team and Hobie Billingsley, whom I'm very close with. In fact, I'm going to be visiting Hobie. He's 94 and a half years old now in Bloomington. I'll be visiting him, I think, July 14th, 15th, and 16th coming up. And we're looking forward to it. I've published a couple of Hobie's books on teaching diving. Also his autobiography, which superintendent. I also became a publisher, so I would have control of my authored works, like my brand now, Teach Yourself to Swim. People are starting to copy that all over the world. And, of course, now when you see how to teach yourself to swim, well, okay, that's a play on my words, but my brand is really Teach Yourself to Swim, and people can do that in my system.
I love that. Love that. Well, let's talk a little about. I do want to get into that, and I of course, I'm a big believer in this and making sure, of course, we're entering into summer and a lot going on that. But let's talk about yourself, because you must really be like pretty, I guess, disciplined as far as like your health, and tell us how you've done that, and how, I guess, going back through the years, you've really taken care of yourself.
Well, there's a guy, Joel Stager, who, actually after I left Indiana and so forth, there became a Councilman Research Center set up at Indiana University, and Joel Stager headed that up. And he found, by testing us master swimmers at national championships over the years in a longitudinal study, which is the only way to do this, he's found that master swimmers who compete and swim regularly outlive their counterparts by 15 to 20 years. So the attitude is, when you swim, you take the pounding off your joints. And of course, like biking, the same thing. But when you swim, you've got gravity, no problem. But at the same time, you've got water resistance. So what I've done is I went through my PhD program in 71 to 73 at the University of Toledo. And they told us one key point, that when you consume fats and sugars at the same time, this helps to form plaque in your coronary blood vessels. Now, like anyone else, did I pay attention? Heck no, man. I'd go eat at McDonald's and, hey, do you want to supersize that? Okay. So I'd have a nice big old fat quarter pounder, and then I'd put it down, pile it down with a good old sugar Coke.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but I didn't practice my own medicine, because last July 20th, I had a huge MI. That's a myocardial infarction. My main coronary artery that supplies most of your heart was 99% occluded. That's your left anterior descending coronary blood vessel. They also have named it the Widowmaker, because it kills you when it's blocked. The other one that was 95% occluded, the only thing that saved me was the fact that I had been training all those years and had what they call coronary collateral circulation, which then it's like roots on a plant. You know how it goes to grab water? Well, so I have no damage to my heart. So after I had my heart attack at 1:30 in the morning, they put in 2 stents, and then 3 weeks later put in a 3rd stent, which totally opened up those blood vessels so my heart can get blood and oxygen again. So I'm like a new man. I would tell people, after I recovered, I feel the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz. I said, hey, I got a new heart, man. I'm ready to go. So I got my heart back up to 160 heart rate. I would encourage people, though, to watch what they eat, because you are what you eat. And the other thing, you have to exercise at least minimally 3 times a week for about 20 minutes or more, because you don't get into the Krebs cycle to burn fat until you're exercising for 20 minutes or more. And it just galls me to no end to see people in a swimming pool. They're swimming, but they're really not. They're just basically floating out there, because their heart rate never gets above 115 or 120. You're not doing any good for yourself unless you can get your heart rate up. And the way to check yourself is to take your thumb and your middle index finger, put it on either side of your Adam's apple. You can feel your heart rate that way better than you can at your wrist.
Wow.
Look at like a digital clock on your wristwatch or whatever. And just for 6 seconds, you count very fast. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth. And then add a 0. And that is your exercising heart rate. And you can check it very simply, but people don't do that. I've had so many friends of mine, even swimmers that compete, they don't know how to do it. So that would be a great recommendation. And then again, if you haven't started, my last key concept here is try not to get back in shape in a weekend. They call them weekend warriors. Try not to do it. If it took you 5 or 6 weeks or 5 or 6 years, maybe 10, 15 years to gain 15 or 20 pounds. You're not going to strip that off until you change your habits and stop eating the sugar. I mean, I stopped my sugar immediately, and I've lost like 10 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And of course, there's a lot of sugar in drinks and alcohol. And I got to tell you, if you like to drink that glass of wine, maybe change over to grape juice. You don't need the alcohol. But that would be my recommendation. And I started back really competitively at age 56. I'll be 78 here in October.
That's awesome.
2 years ago, because of my training and my wherewithal, I guess my goal setting ability and my ability to drive and teach myself and coach myself, I set the world record in my age group now, 75 to 79 age group, at the 50-meter long course world record in Orlando in August of 2018. And they still hold it because COVID hit and people can't swim and meet. So nobody's been able to break it since. So I still hold the world record. And so I'm very proud of that. But I'm also proud of the fact that I've taken care of my body. I practice biofeedback. I'm aware of what I'm doing. And I have goals. I always have goals. You have to have a goal. If you have a goal that says, well, I think I really ought to lose some weight, well, that's not a goal. Your brain isn't taking you seriously. You have to use the word, I must do this. And I think we all fall into that. We have a problem with it. You know, weight is probably the worst thing that you can do is to gain weight as you age. You really got to watch your weight, and that controls your sugar and your intake, your food, and so forth. But try to eat quality stuff, not the garbage, junk food that people like to snack on.
Right. Now,
that's my take on that.
Right, and on as far as and then I do want to get into this other. I could keep you all day long. This is so interesting. But when you are swimming, and let's say that you are actually doing that workout, is it true you're using every muscle in your body?
Well, I wouldn't say every muscle in your body, because you become more efficient. You learn to relax, and you really focus on working on your prime movers. That would be your tricep muscles, your pectoralis major and minor, and your corsolatessimus dorsi, which are on the sides of your arms. But when you swim, the shoulder girdle has a lot more power. So what I teach people to do is you've got to learn this body rotation, and the best way to do that is in front of a dressing mirror. So you hold on the water, and I tell people a lot of imagery cues in my system of education or teaching swimming. When you have an idea of a ski rope underneath you, suspended about 12, 18 inches deep, you have to grab onto it and hold onto it. But not only just hold onto it and pull yourself forward and then push yourself over the top of the water from the back end, you've also got to pretend like you're reaching over a ball, or if it's an adult, I say a 55-gallon drum, so that your hand flexes and you bring your hand and your forearm below your elbow before you start to pull the whole arm back. But then you don't try to use your arms to pull the arm back. You hold the arm, you hold out of the water, and as your body rolls very quickly, it actually has so much more power to force your body over the top of the water. We just had the Olympic trials that were on TV, and the Olympics come up July 23rd. I would suggest the person to watch is Katie Ledecky. She has an amazing stroke, and she doesn't use a big kick either. Now, kicking takes a lot of energy, but if you learn to pull properly, but even before that, you've got to learn to float properly. If your body position is way out of whack, I tell little kids, you've got to be like an air mattress. An air mattress doesn't float straight up and down. It floats level. And your head controls your body position. I'll say that again. Your head controls your body position. I see so many adults swimming with their head out of water, completely switching it back and forth so they can get a breath. They've never learned to master their breathing, which means to exhale underwater, blowing bubbles up your cheeks with your face downward, and then holding your head up as bowls. But people haven't mastered that. So you can exhaust yourself very quickly because your body position is out of whack. You're not efficient. But it's going back to using all your muscles. Yes, I think you use your stomach muscles because you've got your, what they call like a plank, your body position. You can't let your body be a sway back. You've got to have your stomach sucked in. And of course, your legs are kicking. So you're using your quadriceps and your calves. And yes, I would say use a great number of your muscles.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in, and what's the top 10 errors that lead to drowning?
Well, I don't know if I can cover all 10, but
Okay, just a few
the
of
first
them,
one, the
yeah.
Red Cross and YMCA, well, I wouldn't say they talk about it so much, but the CDC in Atlanta that does keeps pretty accurate statistics on adults and pools and so forth. The number one reason they say is overestimating your swimming ability. People have just gotten back into the water this summer, and of course it's been warm there in the Midwest. So people just jump right in without having practiced their skills much over the winter, because unless they go to an indoor pool. So overestimating your swimming ability. The other one is you have to know your environment to mitigate your risk. My wife and I traveled to New Zealand, Australia about 3 years ago, and it was March. Well, that's like September here, where all the kids are back in school, so the beaches were unguarded. And I don't depend on my wife to save me, and I'm a good swimmer. But I don't know the beach, I don't know the environment, and I don't know who's going to get me if I have a problem. But I do know that if you learn how to float first, if you ever get in trouble, if you have never mastered floating, then stay the heck out of the water. Because if you get in trouble, you're going to exhaust yourself and you're going to get into panic.
Right.
If you know how to float, what you do is just put over on your back and just take a couple of breaths and then relax and recover. The other one is, of course, they've always advocated never, ever swim alone. One I've added is don't ever turn your back to the surf if you're in the ocean area, ocean environment. Because the surf has a wave of, every fifth wave is a larger one. And they run in sets, they call it. And if you turn your back to the surf, it's just never a good thing. So you just don't do that. And if you're in doubt, I would say always wear a good fitted life jacket.
Right, right.
The reports are that the number one reason why people are in boating deaths and drowning, they weren't wearing a life jacket. 9 out of 10 people that get, unintentionally drowned in a boating accident were not wearing a life jacket. So if you're in doubt and you're worried about your child because you can't keep dry on them, then get them fitted for a good fitting life jacket. Don't ever take that for granted, because it only takes a couple minutes. And you've got to keep your eye on your children. And remember, the lifeguard is not your kid sitter.
Right.
You've got to keep an eye on your children and your family. And of course, as I indicated earlier, always learn to practice your floating. If you don't know how to float very well, you don't belong in deep water ever, at least not without a life jacket. And I mean a life jacket, not some of those little noodles and things you can float on. If you lose them, you're in trouble.
We love swimming noodles.
Yeah. Noodles are really popular, but
Whack the kid on the head if they're not paying attention. You can float with it.
yeah, but I'm so glad you said that, because and you are, like the swimmer of all swimmers, and you're saying still, even as great a swimmer as you are, and my dad was a really good swimmer, and swimming was I was growing up very important, and to respect swimming, but even the best swimmer can struggle and have trouble in water, and in that, it's not the life preserver and life jackets are so important.
That's correct. And again, you cannot overestimate your swimming ability.
Yeah.
If you can't float for a couple of minutes, just turn over on your back if you ever get tired, or if you're in a current, like in a river or a stream. I like to go inner tubing like anyone else. We're going to do that here on my wife's reunion over there at Turkey Run.
Oh, awesome. Yay.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And we've been whitewater rafting and doing things, but
Love that.
everyone in my family, the first thing I've stressed is to teach them how to float and relax. And now we go boogie boarding. I had a 13-year-old grandson, and of course another kid another grandson, he's 16 now. And the waves weren't big enough. We wanted to go to 4 and 5 foot waves when we boogie board here in San Diego. But I don't worry about these kids.
Yeah.
They go out on their own because they understand the surf, they understand water, they know how to float, and they're all good swimmers. But they understand their environment, and they're very well aware of that, and I've made them aware of that as an instructor.
Well, we're here in Indiana, and, we're a double landlocked state. So a lot of times when we go, somewhere like there are waves and, the ocean and things, you bring up such a good point that we really don't understand it and we don't know.
Yes, and I'd say there's people even live here in San Diego that don't know how rip current forms, and it's a simple process. There's a sandbar out there, recede back to make themselves level in the ocean, well, they usually cut a hole in the sandbar, essentially. And where the water comes over the sandbar, then it has to recede. But when it recedes, it goes through that cut in the sandbar. So the speed of flow has to increase. It's called Bernoulli's principle of physics. The same thing happens in rivers and streams, I will tell people. When you're tubing or anything like that, even inland lakes and so, where there's an outcropping of rock and so forth, that volume of water in the river has to get through that cut in that rock outcropping. So the speed of flow has to increase to get all that volume of water through that amount. It makes common sense. Think of it that way. Image that. And then you understand why, if you get in trouble, if you're whitewater rafting or tubing, you've got to understand what's coming. I think one of the famous things was I was whitewater rafting. And, of course, we had a lead guy that was in a kayak. This was here in South Carolina. I'm down the Chattooga River, where they filmed half the movie of Deliverance there. So it's a wild, scenic river.
Oh, yeah.
we don't know where all the cuts are. We don't know where all the places are to go with your raft. But we have a guy in a kayak that knows the river, so he leads us down the way. But the one thing he's always told us, he said, when you are going down on a river and you start to see the tops of trees, what does that tell you? Well, it's telling you there's going to be a big waterfall coming up, and you maybe better get over to the side of the river and portage around it so that you don't go over the waterfall. It's common sense. But a lot of people forget their brains when they go into some activities. They don't think like that. But I've got a chapter in my book, Teach Yourself to Swim, where I think I'm the only one that has that kind of a chapter where I talk about water safety concerns in unfamiliar places. And I cover marine life. I even cover hypothermia.
I love that.
And it's a problem because you have ice on ponds and kids go out there
Absolutely.
with 2 inches of ice, and then the dog comes out, and guess what? They fall through the ice.
Right.
And unfortunately, kids, unintentionally drown there during the cooler months. It's just sad to hear that, but I try to mitigate those risks and inform people with my book.
I love that, and we want to make sure we tell where to get your book. I want to. I think something that you'll be very happy with. I am on the Salem School Board, and our middle school, for about 50 years now, we have a swimming pool, and and forefathers, the founding fathers that when they built the school, and the school board back then decided to put a pool in because they wanted every student that came through Salem School Corporation to be able to swim. And of course they have classes, and I thought that was very impressive. And this past year we had to renovate that because after 50 years of a pool, which what a blessing that we were able to get that many years out of it. Anyway, we just renovated it, and a lot of times it's we know pools are very costly and very pricey, but I was so happy that our community realized how important it is and for each student to have that.
Absolutely. And I'm glad people are realizing that because, well, first of all, it only takes 2 minutes and life is over. And how precious is a child? We just had our 15th grandchild born. I have 6 kids now. It took me 3 wives to get it done. But I'm very happily married now for 36 years. And we have a daughter by my marriage now. But I had triplets in the first marriage 3 months into my PhD program. But nonetheless, as busy as I was, I started teaching my kids to swim at home without a pool. And if you do have a pool and you're fortunate to have that, at least then, when you've done the basic skills at home, they easily transfer to lessons and so forth, and you get a lot more out of your lessons. But no, I tell you, swimming, it's the only sport I've found that has potential to save your life. And of course, the other benefit is it's a lifelong skill that you can apply in so many ways. I think they've estimated that 80% of all recreation involves water. Well, you can't be paranoid about being around water. I mean, you wouldn't believe here. I'm in San Diego, and the CDC tells us that 60% of blacks, 70% of blacks and 60% of Hispanics do not know how to swim. And if mama doesn't know how to swim because of the fear of protecting her child, of course, that's a good mother instinct, then the child only has a 13% chance of learning how to swim. So when a school board makes a decision like that, and a commitment, not just a decision, but a commitment, you're doing a world of good for your whole community, because then your kids are going to go out in the world and they're going to teach other kids, they're going to teach their kids, and so forth, and that's how it gets passed on.
Yeah, I feel very blessed, and I was so happy that, because a lot of schools are, it is pricey, and a lot of schools have actually, had a pool and maybe, had covered it over or just couldn't, but I was very blessed, or felt very blessed that our community realized the importance. And of course, many years ago, I wasn't, on that school board, but for those forefathers that thought of this idea and realized how important it was, and something that we could make sure that we gave to every student that came through the school corporation. So I'm very proud of that. But some of the, so on your book, is this something that, let's find out how we can get your book, and something that I think would be a great gift for anyone to give, even to maybe to their children or to their, to their friends.
Yeah. Yes. Well, there's two aspects of what I've done. I've tried to make everything affordable. So what I've done is I repurposed the main book into, I think, 14 smaller ebooks that are on my website, and I think they're on Amazon as well. All the titles. If you just go to Teach Yourself to Swim on Amazon, they're all available. Some of the repurposed books are under $10. They're very affordable, but they're paperback, or you can download them to your computer and read them that way if you like, through Kindle. But the main program I have, and the beauty of it is that if you have more than one child, you have to think that you're getting a blessing if they have 5 half-hour lessons. They're group lessons now for 2 or 3 kids in the group, and you'll spend, maybe if you do 5, you'll probably charge you $20 each. Well, okay, that's $100. Well, what I said was, your child might be in a group for 5 half-hour lessons, and maybe they'll learn how to blow bubbles and maybe kick their feet. Okay, those are like maybe 4 or 5 things I do. In my book and DVDs, there are 320 things considering all the strokes and to teaching yourself to swim. And so it's not just freestyle or kicking and breathing, that sort of thing. It's backstroke, it's breaststroke, and plus water safety. So there's a value here. And of course, now the other beautiful thing is with the DVDs that I have. Let me go back to the book first. The book has a system. It's what I call easy to master 1-minute steps. And as the brain learns in patterns and sequences, this is what I've learned in my PhD. The brain learns in patterns and sequences. We've heard the phrase monkey see, monkey do. Well, if you have a swim instructor and they're demonstrating dropping your elbows or demonstrating improperly, those kids are going to copy that to a T, and that's inappropriate. Or if they're kicking and their legs are coming way, way out of the water, I don't tolerate that. I call it a bucket kick. You've got to kick inside of a bucket. And how do you learn to do that? You can do it on your mattress at home. You can have your kids, if the people know how to bait, cast, and fish, you take 2 fingers above and below the kneecap, and then you put your thumb on the calf. Go back to the calf. So if they try to lift their heel up too far up from bending their knee, bringing their foot way out of the water, or in this case on the mattress, the thumb acts like a brake, and then you can push the calf back down to get this alternating rhythm of the kick on the mattress. So then your instep beats the mattress and then bounces up, but you get that alternating rhythm. So you learn to do these things at home even without a pool. But going back to the system, easy to master 1-minute steps. For example, I've been asked, geez, Dr. Pete, when can I transfer this to the shallow end of the pool or lake where I can stand up? When am I ready to do that? And I said, well, have you been able to hold your breath at your clean kitchen sink now for 15 to 20 seconds with your mouth open? I advocate keeping your mouth open, because when you close your mouth, you lose this airlock in your nose, and the nose becomes a bunny rabbit because you've lost your sense of taste. So when you sniff water up your nose 1 millimeter, those little hairs in your brain say, whoa, you idiot, we can't get this computer wet. So the head goes up, and then the feet go down, and then you go down. You've got to learn to float level, like I said, with an air mattress. So, but anyway, so I don't want to belabor this whole point, but the idea here is that if you're still tense and your feet are on the floor of your kitchen sink, you know what? You're not ready to move on to the next step. You're just not ready to go to the shallow end of a pool or a mind control. Your mind controls what your body parts are doing. And if you're still tense, you're not ready. So overcome your fears this way at home and relax. But again, the beauty of the book is there are sequence pictures and brief descriptions. And if you follow that the way I correctly demonstrate, you're going to be a lot better than some young instructor trying to teach you how to do stuff that's not a very good swimmer themselves and demonstrating improperly. The other thing is I've created a 4 DVD set. And on my website, I have a package deal. Now, I don't have that same package deal on Amazon. You can buy them separately. The 4 DVD alone on Amazon is $97. But I offer a package where you can get the book and the DVD on my website. And I guess I better tell you what the website is. It's a secure website. It's HTTPS, and of course, colon and 2 backslashes. learn2swimprogram.com. I'll say it again. learn2swimprogram.com. And of course, the other items are available there on the store in the top menu. So that's it.
Well, and then another thing too, what do you feel the best age is to really start working with a child on this?
Oh, I'd say this is a big one, a really big one. We've got, well, like I said, my daughter just had my 15th grandchild, April 30th. And I just talked to a guy I go sailing with. He has a son that has a 1-year-old. The best age is 3 to 18 months. Because after 18 months, the brain starts the process and it's protecting you all the time. I mean, that's what it's wired to do. So after 18 months, the child, you ask it to blow bubbles or put his face in the water. No, don't know anything about that. I'm not doing it. But under 18 months, your child will do anything you want it to do. You can pour buckets of, plastic cups of water when you're rinsing the soap out of their hair. Now, of course, I don't want the soap to go in their eyes because I have the head forward. I take my thumb and index finger down over the forehead, so when I'm rinsing the water off, their head is leaning forward and the water can't go down into their eyes in the soapy water. But of course, when you're doing bathtub skills, before you soap them up and get all soapy, you're going to want to cup your hands and put them in the bathtub. Kneel next to the child in the bathtub. Again, remember, they're under 18 months, so they should sit stretched out in the bathtub. You can't as an adult, but they can. So if they're stretched out in the bathtub and only about some water, never leave them alone again. Never leave them alone, even at that age. But cup your hands just below the water line and then say, here, put your face in mommy's hands. You can teach them to hold their breath very easily. But you have to demonstrate that. So, ladies, you're going to lose your makeup. I'm sorry. Your head might even get, your hair might get wet. But it's something you have to do when you're bathing your child once a night before they go to bed. So then cup your hands and say, all right, here's the key. This is very important. Kids only know ordinal position. They know numbers like 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 20, so forth. But they don't know the timing of it. So I cheat. I tell them, okay, can you hold your breath here like mommy? Show me. I want to show you. And then they hold their breath for, let me see, let's just do it for 5 seconds. So the first time you do it, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay! Hey, we did it. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. You see what I'm doing? I'm counting fast and then I'm counting slow. So the second time I've done that, they're perhaps holding their breath for 10 seconds. So you do it again. Hey, let's try for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. You count fast. Yay! Let's do it again. 1, 2. Really slow. Now they're holding their breath for like 20 seconds and not knowing it. So once they can do that for 15 to 20 seconds, any adult too in the kitchen sink, that's the key. If you're still tense, holding on to the sink, then you're not ready. But relax and use your mind to control your body parts. So again, I advocate 3 to 18 months. Start now, and you can do the kicking on the mattress. I mean, there's a free ebook. In fact, if you put it on your station, you can offer a free ebook on my website. It's 88 pages. Pay attention to the last 4 chapters where I show you how to use I use a kitchen or a bath sink for a small child, a dressing mirror, a mattress, and a bathtub. I show you how to use those 4 things to develop all the basic skills that you can then, once you're familiar with them, easily transfer to the shallow end of a pool or lake where you can stand up. But even so, we have very small kids, and they're junior. And I would suggest if you're teaching your child, pair of those junior goggles, small goggles, and then show them how to put them on, not down over the ears, but over the crown of their head. And that's where you start at home. So even if you don't have a pool, or even if you do have a pool, like,
Yeah.
but your child would get more out of those lessons. They'll be well ahead of all the other kids if they've done those skills at home first. It takes a little bit of time. There's 29 of them, but you can master maybe 3 or 4 nights just before you go to bed. It only takes like 5 or 10 minutes. And boy, after a week or 2 of those, then you put them in lessons. They're ready to go because, hey, I know how to do that already.
Right.
Well, that's the idea.
That's awesome. Well, you've got some great tips, and I encourage everyone to read your book. And you're very, very impressive and very. I love the way you explain things, and I love the way you make it where we can understand it, and also simplify it. Things that we can do, just before we even hit the water, at home. So I love that, and it's so awesome that you are an IU graduate and you're one of us, and that's fantastic. And we're so proud to have you on, Dr. Pete Anderson.
Now, people tell me where my hometown is. Well, it's Evanston, Illinois, where Northwestern is, and I started to learn how to teach swimming when I was a freshman in high school. But I tell you, I really owe a lot to Doc Counseling because he taught me all the physics principles, like, for example, Bernoulli's principle in the breaststroke kick. I was coming back from my first event, and can I just take another half a minute here and tell you that I was a runt when I grew up. So all those people that are getting bullied because they're runts and so forth. When I graduated from high school, I was only 5'6", 125 pounds. But in the next 10 months, so I entered college as a 17-year-old. I didn't turn 18 until I was in October. And so in the next 10 months, from June of 1961 until April of 1962, I grew 5.5 inches and gained 32 pounds. And I was never in a state high school swim meet in Illinois. Never got to swim enough. I was a runt. I wasn't good enough. I was too slow. But after growing like that in those 10 months and under Doc's tutelage, I should say, learning the mechanics of physics and so forth, I took 3rd in the country, and I never looked back. So, but I didn't go drinking. I didn't do other things, and I've advocated that to all my grandkids. I've got one that's going off to college now. I said, you're there to get an education. And all my friends wanted to go out and, have good careers and things. And I said, hey, I can't. I'm still like a 7th grader. No, I'm not going to do that. So I didn't have a lot of friends. And I was a loner there for much of my freshman year. But as I look back, none of those people ever became an All-American, not even a 5-time All-American. I felt bad because there were so many world record holders on the team. I swam in a lane right next to the world record holder in practice. And I was cocky one day, and I was starting to keep up with Chet. Chet Jastrzemski was his name. And Chet told me some prophetic words that I've never forgotten, and it's helped me to become a world-class competitor. He said, I was cocky, and I said, hey, look at that, Chet. I'm keeping up with you in these 50s. Man, I'm only like a foot behind you. And he said, Petey, it's not what you do in practice. It's what you do in the meet.
Wow.
You know what? That's been a sticky point in my head every time I compete. I remember that. So I work out hard, but I'll tell you what, the process comes in the meet. And but again, I had so many wonderful experiences from Indiana University that I can't say enough about it. When people say, where's your hometown? I say, well, my second home is Indiana. I love Indiana. And like I said, I'm coming back to visit Hobie. I would never come back to see my kids back in the Chicago area without taking time to visit Hobie. He's a lifelong friend, and he's been a mentor of mine, and now I'm a mentor of his, his mentor. And so I just love Indiana, and got friends all over the state. Columbus, Indiana, I've got a couple friends there. And so I know the area very well. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when and I believe this. I believe when you're given a gift, and you obviously, Pete, have been given very blessed and very much gifted. I believe share it with the world, and utilize it. And what a blessing that you are doing that. And if one life or one life changing you can make a difference, then it's worth everything that you put, all the time that you put into this. And what a wonderful spokesman you are, and we appreciate you taking time for us this morning, for sure.
Well, I certainly appreciate the time to spend with you as well. And I'm certainly, for all your listeners, I would hope that they would take time to evaluate their skills before they just jump in the pool again or jump in the water, and just remember that the lifeguard is not your kid's hitter.
I love that. That's exactly right.
And they must learn to float first and swim second. I advocate that. My editor told me in my book, "Why are you saying this so often?" I said, "Because if you don't, they don't get it. You float first, swim second." So when you evaluate a swim instructor, if they're spending too much time, or if they're not even in the water, that's one thing that's terrible. You've got to be in the water to teach. But if they spend too much time just talking and not really doing things, but all good instructors, we all take time, maybe an inordinate amount of time, teaching a child how to float. And you float with your face down, or in the case for little children, and there are so many good, really excellent instructors of the infants. They teach them how to float on their back immediately. Even as 4 and 5 months old, they're floating on their back, and they learn to do that. And because we're just a blob of protoplasm, so we can do that. But I tell you one thing. I've had, well, I'll say fat people. Maybe that's incorrect to say that, but I've had people have too much adipose tissue. Let's put it that way. And they say, "Well, I can't float." And I try to analyze it. Why can't you float? Why do you think you can't float? Well, the reason is because people try to float vertically, and then it's like the iceberg principle: 7/8 below, 1/8 above. Well, guess where that 1/8 starts? Right at the bridge of your nose. So you cannot float vertically. You have to learn to float with your face down. And of course, when you learn to do survival floating, if you're really in trouble out in the Gulf or someplace in the ocean, you've really got to learn to do that. And that's another whole skill that I teach as well. But anyway, it's been wonderful talking with you, Becky. And Laura, I think you're still there.
Yeah, she's right there. She's just listening. I think she's taking notes over there. I think she's got a pen and paper. I think she's taking notes. So you're fantastic. Well, let's talk again, and let's keep up the great work, and want everybody to have a fun and a safe summer, for sure.
Well, that's for sure. And take the time to evaluate your skills and float first, and then enjoy your summer. But watch your children. Don't take your eyes off of them. And if you're uncertain, make sure they're fitted with an excellent life preserver, so that you can tell them they must wear it whenever they're around the pool. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.
Happy Friday.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, got up at 4 a.m. this morning for us, Laura. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and how outstanding, And that's something that, my daughters have been lifeguards. And that's something I love, his point of making sure as parents that you're watching and keeping an eye on your children. And I love that Dr. Pete Anderson, swimmer, is like an ultimate swimmer, but he still realizes that you still can get in trouble no matter how great of a swimmer you are. You have to respect the water.
Absolutely.
And so always be careful and take precaution. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So very good. Get the book. And anyway, and I hope that helps some parents out for sure. So
Absolutely.
And we are very blessed. We do have some really, really, really good swimming instructors in our community. And, and I do love the program that the school puts on, and they do teach the floating, which is fantastic.
See, the pool was closed when the boys was there for renovation, so they didn't get to do that.
Okay.
But
Well.
yeah, my husband still talks about getting to swim in middle school.
Oh yeah. Well, years ago, I didn't want to tell him this, but because I don't want him thinking because I'm not that great. But I was on the dive team. I was on the swim team, and I was on the dive team. I love it, and but I'm no comparison to him. So I'm not. I don't want to. I wouldn't want to tell him that, because that's something that I cannot.
No, I'm more of a floater.
It's like walking in, to a chef's kitchen and saying, "I cook."
Absolutely, yeah.
You don't tell that. You just sit there and listen to the experts.
Absolutely.
So, but anyway, pretty awesome. I love that. All right, Laura, we are going to give the stats, but real quick, I do want to say some random facts for Friday. Okay,
All right.
this is awesome. You do love pepperoni?
Ooh, I do.
I do too.
Pepperoni, pepper jack cheese.
Look at you.
So good.
Score over there. Okay. Pepperoni is an American food. In Italian, pepperoni is with one P is the word for bell peppers. And there's no salami named pepperoni with two P's, used as a pizza topping.
Huh.
So it's actually an American food, pepperoni. So the pizza would be Italian, correct?
Correct.
But the pepperoni
Pepperoni
is American. We put our little twist on it. Look at us.
Look
Look
at
at us.
us.
We're making things better, making things great.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Okay, this is interesting. Are you a label reader?
It just depends on what it is.
Okay, well, I have become a label reader. It takes me forever to read the labels, and labels can be a little tricky. Okay, the FDA allows any product with 5 calories or less to be labeled calorie-free. And manufacturers are allowed to round down and put 0 calories on the nutrition label.
Really?
So let's say the 5 calories or less, they can actually put 0 calories. That doesn't sound right, does it?
No, that's
I mean,
not very fair.
No, it's funny because like when we go shopping, I always round down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it was $25, it's $20. It was $20, around $20, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is a superpower that women have, right? The shoes, no, they were not $50. No.
They were on sale.
Round down.
I never tell the actual price.
Yeah,
It's on
absolutely.
sale.
Round down, round down. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Christopher Columbus. Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to think, how does it go? Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I know, I'm trying to remember in 1492. Or was it, or what is it? No, that ain't right. Okay. But anyway, Christopher Columbus thought manatees, manatees, which I love a good manatee, were mermaids on his first journey to America. He wrote in his journal in 1493 that he saw 3 mermaids, but, quote, they are not so beautiful as they are said to be. So I'm thinking if he thought they were if they thought they were mermaids and they were manatees, I don't see that at all. Do you?
No.
No.
Look, I'm looking for this little.
Okay. In 14, or hang on, what is it? I know. I used to say this all the time, and now, of course, can't say it at all. But, okay. We've got more information on breakfast, okay? You got it? Do you have it? Okay.
I was looking, but it ain't.
It's not coming up. Okay, we will work on that.
We'll figure it out.
Monday, we'll have it by Monday, okay? All right, a new health study, okay?
Okay.
Now we're going to put a disclaimer here because this is the survey says that a new scientific study just came out that it might be a good idea to start eating chocolate for breakfast. Okay? All right. Okay, it looks like a tiny bit of chocolate. They said they eat 100 grams of milk chocolate within an hour of waking up, which is usually more than 2 full-sized Hershey bars. Women in the study did it for 2 weeks and didn't gain weight. They weren't asked to change their diet in any way. Who gets these surveys? How come we don't do these surveys, Laura? How come they don't call us to do these? I know. Please pay me to eat 2 bars of chocolate every day. Yeah, they did end up eating. Do what?
I'll buy bigger clothes with pay.
Yeah. What's the money we make, right? We go shopping.
Exactly.
Okay. Hey, this is brilliant.
I know.
Women in the study did it for 2 weeks and didn't gain any weight. So we didn't gain any weight. So we're gonna keep our, they were asked to. Okay. Hang on. They did end up eating slightly less throughout the day, so it might make you feel full longer, and that's one reason why they didn't gain weight. But they still consumed more calories overall. So it looks like it might be something that women burn more fat. New study found that it worked at night too. Women who ate chocolate up to an hour before bed saw the same effect. But eating in the middle of the day did not work as well. So early morning or late night.
Okay.
So, honey, I'm
I'm
eating
gonna
this
say, I'm
chocolate
doing my
bar.
own study with this
Yeah.
now. I'm
Now,
gonna
do you
test
like
the theory.
the dark chocolate or the creamy milk
It
chocolate?
just depends.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
depends.
And oh yes, you know a lot about chocolate. You're quite the little chocolate person that
Yes.
knows. You completely blow me away.
Yeah.
I know there's Hershey's, but you know the
Oh,
specialties.
Yes, my kids have-
Name them.
Oh my kids like the Lindor.
See, yeah.
They like
Remember, you started
Oh,
just reading
yeah,
off, or
there's-
you weren't
there's all
reading them. You were
kinds.
just on top of your head.
Yeah, there's
You knew all the different
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. They're
expensive chocolates.
Oh, I can't even think now.
I know, but
Um,
you were remember when we were sitting here talking? It was around Easter, I think,
Christmas. It was Christmas.
Christmas.
They get their favorite chocolates.
and you just started
Yeah.
rambling. you just started going.
Oh, I can't
was
even
like,
think.
oh my gosh.
Here, hang on. Ghirardelli is one that
Yeah,
they
I was like, who knows all this?
Hold up here. The Toblerone, of course. Trying to think here. The Godiva. That's one of their favorites. Yes.
But it was so funny the way you knew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody has their
Yeah.
own.
I was the only thing I could bring to the table was Hershey's.
Yeah. No.
Much more.
No,
There's
for
much
Christmas
more out
in their
there.
stocking, they all get their favorites.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
what is the one?
I can't. The Reese. What is it? Cadbury? I don't know.
They like the Cadbury ones too.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh my gosh, the little circles.
Peppermint patty. What's
Oh my
Maybe I need to
goodness.
study. I don't know
We're
how to eat it.
terrible. We're gonna have to go.
I
to
know what it
chocolate
looks
aisle
like,
now.
and I know where it's at. It's at the store. I know where to get it, but it's just hard. Now I'm gonna have to start trying this chocolate thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Now.
Okay, at Walmart you can get just the single bars.
Yeah.
That's where the kids have discovered their favorites.
Oh.
Because you can get the
Yeah.
single bars decently reasonable.
So good. So
and-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I always tried to, if I bought stuff to make s'mores, you buy your marshmallow, you buy your graham cracker, and you buy your chocolate.
Absolutely.
If I didn't hide the chocolate,
Oh yeah.
it never made it till that night.
Yeah.
I never, and then this was funny because I had bought the marshmallows and the graham crackers and the chocolate.
Mhm.
Well, and then I hid things, but I left the marshmallows out. And my Great Dane, Scooby, so he opened. It was crazy how he opened the bag.
Uh-huh.
So he didn't eat the plastic. Didn't have to worry about that, but he ate all of the marshmallows. So I couldn't find them. So I kept thinking I didn't buy them. You know how
Uh-huh.
and as a mom, you question,
Oh, yeah.
did I think I bought those or did I buy those?
Or did they eat them and I just didn't realize?
Well, I couldn't figure that out. That was the furthest from my mind because the girls usually eat the chocolate.
Yeah.
The marshmallow's not usually the thing that they go for. So I kept questioning my sanity. As moms, we do that often, okay? So I kept thinking, did I, so I was almost embarrassed to ask, did I buy these?
Yeah.
So thank goodness I found my receipt. And it had said that I bought those marshmallows. So then I thought, okay, I am not losing it. As moms, we have to second, some had that I guess that reassurance that we're not losing it. So I actually found my receipt that I did buy those marshmallows. So I kept thinking, where would they have gone? Well, come to find out, in the corner, I did find the bag where he had eaten the marshmallows. So Scooby, it was Scooby 1, Mom 0.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that made me feel bad.
But my sister has a golden doodle.
Oh.
They got my niece for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And he is just tall enough to take stuff out of the cabinets now, the counters. And his new favorite is any type of bread.
Oh, yeah.
No matter where you put it, unless it's on top of the refrigerator, he gets it, and he leaves the package there in his little kennel. He takes it to his kennel, and
they've got it down.
thing.
Yeah.
His favorite seems to be Hawaiian rolls at the moment, but he did have a pack of hot dog buns.
Oh, we can't go the Hawaiian
I'm like,
rolls.
he is really into cars.
Yeah.
It's always bread.
Oh, yeah.
It's so
Oh,
funny. My poor Finn, he is.
Yeah, my Great Danes can clear a counter. Anything, yeah. I mean, clear the counter
Absolutely.
completely. Yeah.
Milo.
Yeah, you can't put pizza down or it's completely gone, you know. So Papa John's, you know, he could do a commercial for them.
Absolutely. Milo can. He'll get the other two a little bite too, you know. And
Yeah, you have to be very careful for sure.
absolutely.
All right, I'm going to give you the quote of the day, and then I want you to read, which we've kind of got away from that. We were busy with the fair. We had fair week, but we're going to go over the COVID reports just to kind of go over because I have asked people, or people have asked, you know, we haven't read them in a while, so we're going to do that. But this is actually from Johnny Depp.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the quote of the day, Johnny Depp, and you know it's a little bit out there.
Oh yeah,
Johnny
it
Depp.
has to be. Yeah.
Okay, if there's any message to my work, it is ultimately that it's okay to be different, and that it's good to be different, and that we should question ourselves before we pass judgment on someone who looks different, behaves different, talks different, and a different color. Very good. I thought
totally
that was.
agree with that. Yeah.
I think that's good. Good thought. Good food for the day. Quote of the day from Johnny Depp. Thank you, Johnny, for that.
I was reading something this morning, and it said that your attitude not only basically makes how your day's going to go, but it can also, completely change the track of someone else's. So
Absolutely.
always make sure you're mindful of that. And I thought that is 100% spot on.
Right. And let's quote our late Bob Holler that we adore. Attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Have an attitude of gratitude every morning. He always said, have an attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely.
So, love that. Food for thought. Good deal. All right, let's go ahead and give our COVID report.
Woo! Okay. It's been a minute.
I know.
All right. For the state, as of Tuesday, June 22nd, we had 213 new cases, 6 new deaths, for a 7-day positivity rate of 2.3. The vaccines, we have 2,758,648 fully vaccinated. We have given 2,770,179 first doses. We have given 2,553,101 second doses. And we have given 205,547 single dose vaccines. So we are still doing single doses. For our local listening area, we had 11 new cases, 0 new deaths. Lawrence County, 4 new cases. Jackson County, 0. Jennings County, 0. Orange County, 0. Washington County, 1 new case. Scott County, 2 new cases. Clark County, 2 new cases. Floyd County, 1 new case. Harrison County, 1 new case. And Crawford County, 0 new cases. For Washington County, we have had a total of 2,464 cases, 36 deaths, for a 2.6% positivity rate. I do know we got some updates yesterday, I believe, and our county was up to like a 5.6% positivity rate. So,
Oh, wow. That's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get them a little quicker than the state
Sure.
releases.
Well, and
these are for Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, you do need that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because that could maybe change how you do things.
Absolutely. We had to start wearing goggles again, even though we have no cases, no staff or residents in either building. We had to go back to the goggles again because we're over that 5% threshold in our county. I know we're all sick of it. I know we're all sick of wearing the mask. We're sick of the hand sanitizing and things like that. I've kind of ventured a little out without wearing a mask. I've been vaccinated almost 6 months now. I still do try to keep my distance. I try to, make sure I kind of, don't, like at the fair, I talked to people, but I still kind of kept my distance, I kept my hands sanitized and washed, and, I get it. We all need to go back to some sort of normalcy.
Sure.
My kids are playing football and, working, and they're loving that we're back to being able to do things. But I still remind them, make sure you're sanitizing everything, wiping things down, watch, just because I don't want to go back to March of last year.
Right.
I don't want to go back to that. And I hope that everyone else is in that same frame of mind and, is still remembering we do have to be a little more cautious, if not for yourself, for others. There are still people dying from it. There are still people getting it. It's not constantly in our faces being, we're not being reminded every minute of it, but it is still there.
Right. And I think that's just to give good reminders,
Absolutely.
just to give a positive, or just to not, we're not trying to do overload. Just reminding people,
Absolutely.
and these are things that are good reminders. And, we were very blessed with our fair because they had hand sanitizer everywhere. And of course they had, the running water. You could go wash your hands too. And of course it was an outdoor activity.
Absolutely.
So, but we want to make sure that, still at home, and still what you're doing or getting out. Just,
if you're gathering, that's great. Try to do it outdoors. 4th of July, try to do it outdoors. If you're, you can still keep your distance a little bit without, and still be involved. You don't have to be right upon each other. So,
right.
I don't know. I hope people are remembering that because I don't want visitation to ever have to be shut back down. And, things like that. The residents deserve better from us. So.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, that leads right into tonight, actually, and I think this is going to be so much fun. This is going to be a historic night at the Pioneer Village in Salem. Celebrate the 50th anniversary of the John Hay Center. It'll be from 6 to 10 p.m. I plan on being there. Are you going to be there too, Lauren?
It depends on
I
work.
hope to see you there.
I've got some tours scheduled, so we'll see how they work out.
Well, it goes from 6 to 10. There'll be music. There's going to be Pig Miracle food, and they're going to have beer and wine. Salt Creek Brewery, and also a question and answer session by local historians, which I love that.
I do too. I love when Jeremy Elliott comes in.
Don't we? Yeah.
All the stories.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. So anyway, and this is a wonderful, wonderful time because you're going to get a beautiful meal. You're going to get a great meal. You're going to get wonderful entertainment by music and by listening to the story, which I love storytelling, stories. And then, of course, all of the proceeds go to support the John Hay Center, which is a win-win situation. The house has actually needs some TLC, and we know with any kind of historians, when you put that on there, the prices, because the materials they have to use and stuff can be kind of. So anyway, I think and he was a big deal, and we were very blessed that we have that history in our community. So I hope anyone from surrounding communities come over.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a beautiful night and absolutely gorgeous. We talk about that area. Everybody takes photos there all the time, and this is just going to be a fun time of fellowship. So again, it's an outdoor activity. They'll have hand sanitizer. They'll be on their game on that. So much excitement and definitely a great time. It's right here in Salem at the museum, the John Hay Center right behind it, and the Pioneer Village.
Absolutely, it should be great.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, and that starts at 6 and it goes till 10. So. And anyway, chomping at the bit to get some good barbecue. Oh, sounds delicious, doesn't it? Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. Me too. And Laura, you know what that means for us? We don't have to cook.
Absolutely.
That's a win-win, right? It's always good when someone else does the cooking, right?
I have teenage boys now.
Yeah, I know.
It never ends.
Never ends. For sure. Then we can go home and afterwards have our chocolate.
Absolutely.
I think that sounds like a win-win, right?
We can go shopping and find all kinds of different
chocolate. Yeah. We do need to do that. We need to go and find out the different names of chocolate. You can teach me. You need to teach me some of the different chocolates, yeah. And then taste test it. We need to. What we like and what we don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Love that idea.
Absolutely.
All right. That's hilarious. Let's thank our sponsors this morning.
All right. We have Walmart, Meadowview, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Kentucky Cat-Court, and Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn.
Yay!
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Laura. Thank you for stopping in.
Absolutely.
Hello, folks. Kurt Martin at Billy Martin Store. I'd like to start out by saying thank you to everyone that voted us your best place to purchase appliances, furniture, and floor covering in Washington County for another year. At Billy Martin Store, we have so much more to offer our loyal customers. Not only do we carry a complete line of GE, Hot Point, Speed Queen appliances, but also a full line of home furnishings as well. Beautiful quality name brand furniture and living room suites, sectionals, recliners, dining room suite, bedroom suite, lamps, Restonic bedding, made in the USA, and most furniture and bedding is made right here in Southern Indiana. Billy Martin Store has a nice display of all your floor covering needs. Carpets, vinyls, tiles, laminates, and Somerset hardwood flooring. We offer
Mitchell, Bedford, and Bloomington's home for rock classics. 97.9 WSLM.
It was 1994 and radio was such a bore. Every station that you heard sounded so late. Then came two good old boys breaking through that static noise, and my radio ain't never been the same. It's a very funny thing how they make us laugh and sing. I'm so glad they proved all of those critics wrong. You got Rick and you got Bubba, man, there just ain't no other. From Alabama to the world, still rolling strong. Man, I love to sing that Rick and Bubba song. Rick and Bubba. Rick and Bubba.
7 minutes past the hour of the Rick and Bubba Show. 866 We Be Big is our number. Bubba out today. Adler out today. Speedy, the real Greg Burgess, Helmsy here. The winner at Rick and Bubba University intern taking Adler's spot. And Barbecue Smoke Deck taking phone calls at 866 We Be Big. As we start this brand new hour, I told you about Rick and Bubba University podcast. Catch that this weekend. Best of shows coming up next week. Some of the more memorable moments in Rick and Bubba history. So be sure and catch those shows. The next time we'll have the whole team on the field in the same room will be July the 6th. So pay attention to that and enjoy yourself and enjoy the 4th of July until we all get back together. Over the years of Rick and Bubba, Scott Dawson's found himself in some very interesting positions here on the program. And for some reason, I really don't know why, he keeps coming back. Scott, welcome back to Rick and Bubba. Do you ever, is there ever a time where you go through something with the show and go, that's it? I just can't keep going back.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been some. The Gary the Bulldozer prank was probably the closest we've ever gotten.
Yeah, that was good.
But we've been through so much
Right.
for so long that I'm
Yeah.
like, I actually, in some weird way, do trust you guys.
Isn't that odd? I mean, because
Yeah.
when you have something, that's been around for so long, the Scott Dawson Evangelistic Association, there had to be moments where the board set you down and said, look, we love that we can get the word out through these guys, but they keep getting you in these precarious situations. You're on best of CDs. Did y'all ever talk about how we properly balance this as a ministry?
Yeah, actually, I have had some board members say, hey, do you think that's a good idea? Do you really think that's a good idea? And I go, hey, at all costs, man. I mean, I become all things to all people so that we may somehow get the gospel out. And I think that's the reason it's a good partnership.
Well, no, I think you're in really the same position that we find ourselves in. I mean, I will just, I'm going to be serious here for a minute, but I will openly be transparent that when you try to do what we're called to do, to be in the world but not of the world, it is difficult.
Yeah.
And there have been times, with things that God has called all of us to do. But I'll speak specifically to my own life where you look, I sit there and go, you know what, man, like today, I didn't really like the way that went. And I know I'm going to have to answer some emails on this. And you start going, would I just be better off not to try to go do that because of sometimes the roads I end up going down or things that are said or whatever. And I'm like, but then I keep going back and I cannot get anything from the Lord yet that says, but then you also would not be able to be used in the way that it's used.
Yeah.
I mean, if you turn into just another, this radio show has been afforded to us to fuel people coming to things that are much more important in the show that they wouldn't have come any other way.
Absolutely. I tell my board, I mean, this is stocking the pond so we can go fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is, if you've ever gone fishing in a pond with no fish, it's boring. You guys allow us to literally get the platform to say, I think people, especially after the prank with the live ammo, I keep going back to that.
Well, you
Not that I still have PTSD about it.
Well,
Like this live
Well,
live ammo.
what did Mark Garnett say, Greg? The difference between a good prank and a great prank. 2 words, live ammo.
Live ammo. It changes everything.
I'm
It
going to
changes-
warn you, we got best of next week.
Uh-huh.
You'll probably get a text from your friends when we play because I
Yeah.
normally play it.
Yeah.
We make sure you relive that at least twice a year.
I know when you play
I
because my
figured you
phone
did.
blows up. Hey, I heard that again, and I'm like, you know what? In some ways, I still have the calcified bruises on my shins, so it lives with me daily. But the other
Constant
thing,
reminder.
it builds the platform wherever I go. People go, "Hey, you seen Gary lately?"
Yeah,
and I go,
right.
"No, if I do, I shoot him."
Right.
You know,
He can stay away from
Can I tell you something? I'm gonna say this for at least the 11th time. I have, it's actually our family. I was there yesterday. Okay, so
at the farm,
yeah, this is not a place that I don't go.
right?
Okay, it's not like we had a prank at a place you and I never saw again. I see it all the time, and just about every time it happened again yesterday. I had my nephew there, and I was trying to teach him how to, drive the vehicles and all this kind of stuff. So when we went on the trail, I always to my right when I turn on the trail, I see that those young pine trees. And if you ever seen pine trees where we live, when they're in that young stage and they're still all grouped together, there's not a lot of room between these pine tree groves. And I look at the place where you turned that 4-wheeler in and drove through it and you get to safety. All right. Look, I